It's the Go Mike podcast where the mic is gold. This is a podcast. I'm your host, Mark Paul. And today we got OG Bride D from Carver Park, Compton Crip. All right. OG Bride D is giving his take on American Cholo and Swifty Blue and Bozo. So we're going to get into the clip of him talking about those guys since we're on the subject. Now let's go.
That I'm a bus home this morning, and the reason I'm a bus home is because I've been looking at old videos tonight while I'm sitting here, and I'm like, wow, these cats are really saying this kind of stuff. So
you hear how he said he was looking at old videos. He's talking about American Cholo, how I was saying, if you go back and look at a lot of his old videos, you're going to see a lot of anti-black rhetoric. But let's go.
First person I'm gonna get at is Gil from American Cholo. See, you got someone on your show who doesn't really know the history of us culturally speaking to a full extent. So I'm going to give you people the definition of what a coon is.
And I seen this video, and honestly, like, he really breaks down the history. I truly hope that, and I'm sure that it's 100% correct, but honestly, I did not hear that that's what a coon was. And I'm extremely younger than him, so he knows better than me. So let's see what he says a coon is.
Europeans used to chase, when I say Europeans, I'm referring to people, American people, white people in the 18th century, 19th century, things like that. They used to chase raccoons up in the trees. And once they cornered the raccoons, they chase them with dogs, they gun them down. Easy pickings. Raccoon up in a tree, can't go nowhere, shoot it down. Well, they used to do the same thing with runaway slaves. They chase them down with dogs, and the runaway slaves would run up in the tree because they're trying to get away from the dog, not to be bitten by the dog. And then if it was a slave that was constantly running away, they'd shoot them down like animals out of the tree, like a raccoon.
And that's some heavy shit, like, because I've never heard this, and it struck me when I heard it. I'm like, golly, like, you know, even I've been using that word wrong, you know, but let's go.
We're going coon hunting because some slaves have escaped tonight. So they start calling us coons. So in Jim Crow era, when it was really hectic at the turn of the 20th century, they chased brothers all through the swamps and through the forest, and they'd go up in a tree and they'd gun them down before they lynch them, things of that nature. So you know what coon meant. You had someone on your show who really didn't know the definition of it and the origins of it and how it was applied to us in a derogatory way.
And that's a fact, because even though just by using Bride D's definition, you know, I had it wrong, you know, and the American Cholo, I think he was intentionally using it wrong, and he was just trying to find something derogatory to say, so he really just had it wrong. But let's go.
You do say you don't use the N-word, but you say mayate. Like, it's, you know, and that means that's the lowest form of disrespect that you can give a black man, but it originally means black bug in Mexico. But you guys took it and flipped it and made it a derogatory way, just the same way as the European took coon. See,
now you hear that anytime you hear a Hispanic person, you know how, like, a lot of time the Mexicans, they like to talk in English, and then they switch over to Spanish, so you don't know what they're saying. So if you hear that word mayate, just know he's referring to you in a negative, from a negative standpoint. But let's go.
You call yourself a conservative. So the conservatives did what? They didn't care about babies being snatched at the border from people that look like you. I call you a coconut. Brown on the outside, white on the inside. And
just to be clear, Bride D, Obama actually created the cages. The cages actually got famous under Donald Trump, you know, but there has always been kids and family in those cages that Obama built. So we always speak about these cages, but Obama built the cages. Everybody want to blame Donald Trump and the conservatives, but Obama is the one that constructed the cages. But let's go.
Sit up here and send a message. Well, can he just sit down and talk to me? Can he come on the show? Can he get on the telephone? Never. You are no one for me to talk to. You're not in my league. I will run circles around you historically, and I will run circles around you intellectually. And
that's one thing I disagree with Bride Dog on. I do wish that Bride Dog will find it in him to sit down with the American Cholo guy just to school him. I'm not saying that y'all need to get along and you know, everything will be peachy clean. I'm saying that I want Bride Dog to sit down with American Cholo and school him. Just school the shit out of him. That's what I'm looking for. But let's go.
For me to talk to Gil from American Cholo. You know, then you start here and say the homies and allude to like you're still in the streets. Well, how can you be a conservative and be a homie? I don't understand that one, right?
Because the American Cholo, Gil from American Cholo, is a hypocrite. He is an anti-black hypocrite. Just to be clear. But let's go.
Now I'm going to jump to this dude, Swifty Blue. You wear gold in your mouth and you wear fade as if you're a brother from down south. That's who you remind me of. Yet you say you would never sign to a black. Then you align yourself with Kodak Black, who from my understanding has a sexual charge, a sexual assault charge on his jacket somewhere.
And I didn't even know that. I had no clue that Kodak Black has sexual assault on his record. I did not know that. So now I'm kind of looking at Kendrick Lamar kind of funny because Kodak Black pretty much narrated Kendrick Lamar's latest album. I wonder if Kendrick knew about this. Well, let's go.
Into a female, and he was found guilty already, tapped out to her, so obviously he's guilty of it or he's not. I don't know, but he tapped out to her, so that says guilt, right? So you have people get on you about him. But do they get on Bozo, who's aligned with American Cholo? Do they get on Bozo, who's supposed to be your adversary, yet he's supposed to have relations with a 15-year-old girl?
Oh, you heard that? So he said that supposedly Bozo have had relations with a 15-year-old girl. I wonder how true that is. I wonder if the information on that is going to come out. Where are all the internet investigators? Please, if this is true, let's get the paperwork for that.
A 15-year-old girl, 1 year above what is defined in law as lewd act with a minor. As far as I'm concerned, that's still a minor 15 years of age. He's a grown man. But that's the word, that's supposed to be the biggest kept secret. That Bozo messes with a 15-year-old girl. He's infatuated with her, and he's having sexual relations with her. I don't know. Am I throwing an allegation out there that's falsely? No, it's based on coming out of his people's mouth.
So he said that this is coming from Bozo's people. So there may be a lot of merit in it. And you gotta ask yourself, why are people keeping this secret for Bozo? Like, are they, to me, if you're keeping a secret like that, you're complacent into that type of activity. But let's go.
But it may be false, it may not be. Y'all know the truth. You know, and he knows if he deny it, then we can do some investigation to find that 15-year-old girl. Imagine that. Yeah, I said it, can't take it back. I've never said anything disparaging about Mexicans, Hondurans, Guatemalans, Nicaraguans, Salvadorians, people from South America, anything of that nature, Latinas or Latinos. I've only said something disparaging about Serranos and Southsides because I deem them as a terrorist organization. Anytime someone terrorizes people of color that are innocent people, that have nothing to do with gang culture, you are a terrorist. That is a terrorist structure, a terrorist organization. I don't care how much it's changed over the years. You still have areas where they write NK on the wall. So that's terrorists.
And a lot of these Mexicans on the internet, they like to try to ignore that fact that a lot of the Mexican gangs will target black people that are not in gangs. I'm going to tell you a story. In 2004, I have a homie that was visiting a female, right? He was visiting a female. And when he was leaving that female's house, he was approached by a car full of Mexicans. I'm not going to say where they from, but a car full of Serranos, and asked him where he's from. The homie didn't bang. So he said, I don't bang. Guess what they did? Shot him 3 times anyway. Shot him 3 times anyway. So boom. Let's fast forward to this year. There's a situation in LA that happened in January. All right. So when you look up that situation on the news, they say, oh, we don't know what race it is. We don't know what race it is. But guess what? The streets know. The streets know what race it is. And I'm referring to that situation that happened on Vermont and Imperial, where car full of Mexicans pulled up to the shopping center, parked their car on the side of where the Louisiana fried chicken is. All four of them jumps out of the car, runs to a group of black people, don't even say nothing, don't say anything, and just start busting. Pow, 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 pow. It's all on video. All on video. 2 people got hit. 1 died. That being my cousin. My cousin died. And the news is trying to act like, oh, we don't know what race it is. But guess what? The streets know. You know, we got this whole no snitching culture. Guess what? The streets know what race those people were. They were Mexicans. There was Mexicans that hopped out of that car and aired out that shopping center where my cousin was killed. So I'm attached to it. I'm really invested in this conversation because I've been affected on it. Not me personally, but people that I've known. So it affects me as well. So what Bride D is saying is facts. You know, you got these people, these Mexican gangs, they write NK on the wall. Like, what do you think that mean? Nigga killer? Nigger killer? Do black gangs do that shit? No. You never see Mexican killer, burrito killer, taco killer, right? You never see that. But you sure see all of the anti-black killings that these Mexicans do just because we're black. You know? And they like to just dump that shit under the rug as if that shit ain't happened. But that shit happens all the time in LA. All the time. Black people getting killed by Mexicans just because they're black. They don't necessarily mean that they are banging, that they are gang banging. Just because they're black. And understand this. Understand that black people don't have a real problem with Mexicans. We don't have a real problem with Mexicans. But when you riding around town and you see nigga killer on the wall, how are we supposed to feel? How are we supposed to think? Are we supposed to be offended? Or are we supposed to just take it on the chin and let it happen and not talk about it? I'm glad Bride D brought that up because that is something that happens in LA community often. Mexicans hunting blacks that got nothing to do with the gangs. Zero to do with the gangs. My cousin had nothing to do with the gangs. Even the news say the victims are not even tied to no types of gangs. The niggas was just at the fucking at the shopping center and motherfuckers just pulled up and just popped on them just because they black. You got these Mexicans got the nerve to try to point out these street vendors getting robbed and assaulted. Come on, bruh. I said this in one of my other videos. Mexican street vendors are not getting targeted just because they're Mexican. They're not getting targeted just because they're Mexicans. And I want to make that pretty clear. These Mexican street vendors are being targeted because they are a cash business. And they are most likely operating illegally without paperwork that gives them the right to sell food and stuff. So if you got a person with an all cash business that is practically illegal, they're not going to call the police, right? They're going to just let it happen, because if they call the police and let the police know what the hell they were doing, they might be in trouble, right? So they don't call the police. So it ain't nothing more than opportunity. Black people will rob other black people. And let's talk about it. Mexicans will rob other Mexicans too. So for y'all to just cherry pick different vendors that get assaulted by black people is crazy to me, because you guys do it to your own people. And it's for the same reason black people do it. It's because you guys, they are a cash business operating illegal. So they will not call the police. And it's nothing more than just opportunity. And I'm going to just end it like that, because I feel myself getting kind of hyped up. And when I get hyped up, I don't think straight. So I'm going to go ahead and end it like this. It's the Gold Mic Podcast, where the mic is gold. And this is a podcast. I'm your host, Mark Paul. and I'm out.